Good.
Today on our show, man, you know what? Screw it. Just listen to this.
In the great Hall of Justice, there is assembled the world's 6 greatest heroes, created by the cosmic legends of the universe. Robbie Palmer of Artful Gremlins, Holly Michelle of Artful Gremlins, Josiah LeRoy of the Geekiverse, Maggie Worth of Geekiverse, David Duncan of Synthaholics, and Aaron O'Brian of Synthaholics. Their mission, to fight injustice, to fight that which is wrong. This is the Nerds of the Round Table.
This is the Nerdynomicon. I am Robbie, and this is another installment of the Nerds of the Round Table. You got to hear on this very channel the inception of it before we became the Nerds of the Round Table. Then it went over to the Geekiverse channel, where we discussed movies that were coming out within the year of 2017. Then it kicked over to the Synthaholics channel. I kind of stumbled across my words there. But we talked about Lego Batman and Batman in general over there. So today, we're back at the Nerdynomicon. And we're going to be talking podcasts, movies, video games, comic books, TV shows, things that you may not have tried before. To my right, one of the Artful Gremlins, our resident voice actress.
Holly Michelle.
To my left,
David Duncan, Synthaholics. I make drinks.
He does make drinks.
everybody's just sitting here so sullen. They're like, introduce me so I can just start talking to you. Directly across from me,
Aaron O'Brian of Synthaholics, too.
I don't really know what's going on with the Synthaholics, guys. He's a little scarred from his grumpy interaction.
There was, well,
the aholics part is really playing a factor in this so far.
I made 2 drinks and one's almost gone, and we just started.
Look at the accent.
Just softened.
All right, over here, kind of kitty corner from me,
I'm Josiah LeRoy of the Geekiverse.
and directly next to him,
I'm Maggie Worth of the Geekiverse.
yay! All right,
This indeed should be a round table, but it's square.
yeah,
Get
it's
square.
definitely square. There's corners involved.
Listen, we're working on it.
Some of us are
Not a
up
big
high,
budget.
some of us are down low,
We're
some of us
shaving the
are high,
corners
some of
off.
us are
Bring my
feeling very
Klingon
low.
sword and hold it high.
So, is anybody here familiar with the YouTube show Extra Credit?
Yes,
David is.
I
He gets
went
extra
to,
credit points.
Well, you in fact get extra credit.
I went
okay?
to school for game design, and one of my teachers actually recommended it to us, and I love the show. I don't follow
Right.
it as regularly as I used to, but they've had some really good videos, especially on gamification and
Yeah,
the
definitely.
6 days in Fallujah. That was amazing.
Oh, it was phenomenal. They've branched out from there and given us extra history and everything like that. But the reason that I'm bringing that up is that show on YouTube was kind of the inspiration for this episode. Every roughly 6 months or so, they do a series called Games You May Not Have Tried, where they talk about games that don't necessarily have to be good, just interesting. Something that they recommend, you don't try it out. I'm not saying it's a great game whatsoever, but there's something interesting about it that's worth checking out. And I love that series of, their episodes, the Games You May Not Have Tried. I loved it so much that I thought that we should do our own version of it, but branch out from just games. So that we'll enter in games here just because, a lot of us are gamers. But podcasts we may not have tried. TV shows, movies, comic books, because, this is the Nerdynomicon. We're here to talk about nerd shit, man. So this is going to be our episode. Things that we may not have tried.
Word.
All right.
Boom.
Hollow. Sorry, I had to take it to the streets. For a sec.
Holla. Bring it back.
I think we should start out with podcasts. Podcasts that we love, or I love, or you love, that other people may not listen to or may not have even heard of. David, why don't you get us started, man?
This isn't a small podcast by any stretch of the imagination, but if you like some of the most obscene humor you can possibly stand, along with aliens and serial killers, I would recommend Last Podcast on the Left.
Hell yes.
And Aaron actually turned me on to them, so I'm sorry if I stole your favorite podcast.
It's a great podcast. They've become super popular in the last 2 years or so. But
I think they said their Patreon, they make $20,000 a month. I want that for us.
I want to be living their life. No, but they are good. But if you are easily offended, do not listen to them.
Do not listen to them.
And they do talk about, especially the serial killer things. Sometimes they touch on things that is very uncomfortable. I mean, they try to make little jokes to make it a little lighter, but it's very.
And they also play actual clips from like serial killers if they have them, like audio clips. So like it can get really dark, especially talking when they like ask him, "Oh, so what did you do?" And the guy just like lists all the stuff that he did with like no emotion in his voice whatsoever. It can be really hard.
They have, yeah.
But
then they'll talk about aliens. And,
One of my favorite bits from there, because Aaron, you turned me on to these guys too.
yeah, I'm their evangelist.
The H.H. Holmes episodes, because I
Those
knew
were good.
next to nothing about H.H. Holmes.
Awesome.
We like sew people into. Isn't that what that one season?
Murder Castle.
Yeah.
Sort of.
His
Yeah,
hotel.
Evan Peters'
loosely,
character.
yeah.
Hello there, lovely 23 Skidoo. You know that guy? Yeah, that character is definitely based on H.H. Holmes, who had the murder house. I had to rewind and listen to the bit when he was talking about Minnie and Nanny so many times.
Minnie and Nanny.
Hi! Are you Henry? Because I'm Minnie.
It was great.
Both of you.
Oh, they were so bad, but it was good. Yeah.
Holly's just sitting there like, I have no idea what's going on here.
I am in the same boat.
It's worth
I'm
it.
content not knowing.
Honestly, there is like certain episodes that are probably easier entry. Like if you do like the Aliens
Yeah,
ones.
aliens ones are a lot
are
easier to get
just
into.
hilarious. Like the Dolce base.
The Dolce Air Force Base. That one
It's
was
got to
really
be
good.
one of the funniest ones where they like there's an underground base with aliens, and it's all conspiracy, right? But it's hilarious. They just make it so funny, and you're just like.
Episode 55, Aleister Crowley. That was the one you
Aleister
recommended.
Crowley.
That was my barrier to entry.
I want to just tell you that episode has got me through a lot of dark periods in my life. I
power
downloaded
bought-
that.
Sounds like it would enter you into a dark period.
No.
Oh my god.
You could power bottom into oblivion.
Power bottom to the oblivion. When I'm like in a very nasty mood or something like that, I'll put that on and I just will be the happiest person. The Neudberg thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god. Seriously.
We're out in the desert, and I just need you to pull down your pants.
There's some
Essentially,
serious separation on the wrong table.
what he's talking about here is Aleister Crowley at one point went out to the desert with one of his, let's call them followers, and forced the guy to fuck him in the ass, and was such a good power bottom, he drove the man mad by
Mind you, they
being
also
a
had lots of.
catcher.
Mind you, they had lots of drugs on them. Not
sorry.
they didn't like.
Well, yeah.
They didn't go to
Josiah doesn't even know how to react. No, there was like a brief moment of silence between Robbie and Dave right there. And Robbie, you can't see it if you're listening, but Robbie was just like... he said it's like he was a professor teaching a class. Like, it was
like,
so
well,
damn funny.
guys.
Well, you see,
It was such a good power.
17.
instead of
Page 74 of your
You see, page 84, you'll see this man receive.
That's gonna be all for today. Read chapter 7.
instead of taking out practical supplies to the desert and like water and food, let's bring a lot of drugs and booze.
That is the practical tote bag for the desert, man.
Your desert
Camping, not necessarily desert. I don't know.
How many people here have hitchhiked in the Utah desert?
Not me.
I don't like to talk about it.
all the
It
time.
happened. It happened. You need the hash and mescaline just to get through it.
Wait, now,
Water.
You pansy.
Robbie, did you say that was episode 55?
55, yes.
I couldn't remember, but yeah, if you do want to look it up, it's episode 55, the last podcast that left.
Absolutely. Great poll, Dave.
Maggie's not going to be looking that one up.
Maggie looks like she. I think we've already scored Maggie for
We'll
life.
see.
I don't know. Maggie looks intrigued.
Well, yeah. I'm like the person that I can't watch scary movies, but when I get really bored at work, I'm like deep in a Wikipedia hole about serial killers just because I'm like, this is interesting and to keep my attention for 5 minutes because I hate my job, but that's unrelated.
Touche.
No, it's
Maggie's
funny.
search history.
Yeah, I know. If they ever look, it's gonna look really weird.
Well, like-
'Cause I'll go from I don't know, coming
Amazon.com.
up trends in women's fashion, and then it'll end with I don't know, somebody bad. I don't know. I can't think of a serial killer right
Well,
now.
but they did a whole thing on a 3-part or 4-part on Charles Manson, which was
Yeah.
really
Well,
interesting
it's fascinating
because he's not as awful as other serial killers.
True.
He didn't
Relatively
actually kill
speaking.
anybody.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it's
But
really
insane,
interesting.
and it's all coming up again because there's 3 of them were up for parole, and I
Right.
think there's a special coming out. So
Right.
he's relevant again.
It's interesting.
Aaron, what kind of a podcast do you have for us?
There's one that I've discovered recently. It's kind of an underground one. Not as well known. It's called Conspiranormal Podcast, and they basically get usually guests. It's sort of like a Coast to Coast AM kind of thing, but they're like us. They're podcasting and they're stop with the. These guys are silly.
You can't see your camera phones.
You can't see what these guys are doing.
We just pulled our pants down. It was great.
Yeah, it was great. So, no, but they do
sorry,
aliens,
guys.
they do ghosts, they do all these things, and they just talk about and they get authors who write about these things, and they talk about all sorts of really way out there, thoughts and philosophies on all the supernatural and conspiracy stuff. So
Nice.
it's not necessarily meant to be funny. They're not like last podcast on the left, but they just entertain what it is and they talk about it. They don't debunk things. It's like if you listen to Coast AM, the guy never debunks anything. If Art Bell never debunks it, he just listens to what they have to say and he questions them more and stuff like that. So it's interesting for that. And but it's just fun to listen to for me. And it's not like it's probably not as definitely not as one of the bigger podcasts out there. So Conspiranormal Podcast.
Conspiranormal. All right, good plug for them. Josiah, what do you got?
I am not a podcast connoisseur like you fine gentlemen and ladies.
This is our medium.
That's all I live.
I know.
This is what we
it's
do.
embarrassing, okay? I'm working on it. But
We're working on it.
There's a
We're
little show
currently a
called
podcast
Synthaholics.
reviewing other podcasts.
Sorry.
This is by no means a smaller podcast, and this may come as a shock to most of you, but little known fact, I am a Star Wars fan. Anyway, I was waiting for Maggie to bring that up. Rebel Force Radio, if you haven't listened to that. Have you ever heard of that, Robbie?
I have not.
Okay. A friend of mine introduced it to me recently. Like, they're big. They've got, sponsors, commercials, the whole shebang. There'll be, brought to you by Legos. I'm like, what?
All of Legos.
By Legos.
Just every Lego ever. But needless to say, it is all Star Wars. It's something that a few of us in this room probably could walk onto no problem. And these guys
We
are
showed
crazy
who's
though.
boss.
That's right. No, these guys know their stuff. As Robbie has his Boba Fett hat up. I've got my Boba backpack right here. But
Right on.
they're really insightful. To the point. Oh man.
And my Slytherin, but that's different.
Yeah, she's a good one. But yeah, there's
Thank you.
there's that. I think they had Carrie Fisher on in the fall.
That's awesome.
An interview,
That's
which is kind
awesome.
of crazy. So they get actual Star Wars folks on the show, and to me that's pretty damn awesome. That's the dream. But they also
we can
have
try to
full-time
ambush
jobs.
Billy D at
Yes.
Nickel City Con.
Trust me, I've been working on that plan for months. It's like Home Alone all over.
We'll nerds the round table sandwich him.
I love it. I love it.
Surround him and be like, well, since you're here.
Robbie, get the doors.
We'll surround them and do Night of the Roxbury, the two guys. They just,
Who's good on roller skates? Aaron, get on it. Block off that entrance. Robbie, get the doors.
We'll bring Shatner along. It'll be great. So
can't wait.
And Nichelle Nichols. Woo!
yeah. Anyway, long story short, I've enjoyed that as a lifelong Star Wars fan who's very passionate about Star Wars. I definitely recommend checking it out, and it's encouraging because I know Robbie is also a huge Star Wars fan that he hasn't heard of it. So if you
Adam.
like Star Wars, go check it out.
Awesome. Excellent.
Yes.
Maggie, what do you
Don't
got?
look at me.
Don't look at me, Iron Fist guy.
Don't look at me. I don't want it to happen.
Don't take me to a
terrible.
desert.
I am not a podcast person.
tears are coming down my face.
Doesn't mean I don't like them. I've just never really gotten into listening
It's
to
okay.
it.
Well, there's this
But
little
now
one.
that I'm sitting here, I'm learning about that it's actually something.
It's an
that needs to be-
educational nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a part of.
Entering into that realm of things. So I do not have something personally to offer, but for that part. But yeah.
Okay,
If we're
fair
gonna
enough.
go around,
Maybe our listeners can write us and tell us what she should check out.
yeah.
Synthaholics.
What are your interests?
Never in. Well, I'm gonna listen to that Rebel Force Radio the second I get home. But the
Your
yeah.
fiance would love that as well.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
Yes.
Yeah. So as somebody who is a podcast newbie, if people have suggestions,
What are your interests though? What are,
Synthaholics is good. Nerdynomicon is good.
The Geekiverse.
I've heard good things.
yeah, not serial killers.
Well,
Not
no,
despite
but I
my
mean,
Wikipedia
Do you like
search to that.
Star Wars, Harry Potter, Marvel.
you like history?
That stuff. I do.
Hardcore history.
Hardcore history is excellent.
Okay.
You
I can
need-
get
That's
into that.
Hardcore
very,
history.
very
it's
fun.
one of the best podcasts out there. Period.
Yeah.
That's why it's always
nothing-
at the top of the charts.
There's nothing, and he only comes out like what every 3-5.
But his podcast is like
Something like
4 or
that.
5 hours long sometimes.
Oh, good to
Yeah.
know.
Goodness
Okay.
gracious.
And sometimes they'll do
Hard
multiple
right
parts that are
yeah.
each 3 or 4 hours long. Like
I mean,
for-
there's
for
dedication
World
into
War
these
One.
shows too, and
Yeah.
the production value is high.
Wasn't
I'm
World
sure.
War One
Yeah.
like 6 parts and
I
like
think I was
3 or
watching
4 hours
old
apiece?
news
Blueprint for Armageddon.
podcasts as being like, I mean, conspiracy theories, but like someone sitting alone in their basement.
Right.
Well, that happens
as-
too.
Well, right.
And now you're hosting one.
Right.
Yeah.
And as I've been brought into all this stuff, I'm realizing there's this whole other world of stuff that I've been not, taking part in. So I'm excited to know that it's not what I thought it was,
Right.
which is good. 'cause
Right on.
I'm not in a basement alone right now. I'm in a studio with
Or
1, 2,
in a
3,
basement
4,
with
5
a
other
bunch
people.
of people. Yeah.
Drinking something green. How do you like it?
It's something.
It's very good.
I think
It's-
I said it tastes like college.
That is the best description you could give that.
Well, because
Yes.
it's like 50 different things all in one cup.
Right.
It is
I'm a
50
big
different
fan.
things.
Whereas like college would be like 50 different things all in one
Right.
drink.
This is the third drink David is
It tastes
conjured
like
up
white
for me.
visors and yellow T-shirts is what it tastes like. Absolutely.
Where did you go?
Don't ask questions. Don't ask questions.
I believe Utah.
In like the 70s?
Are you? Do you know a place called
It
Waco,
wasn't my
Texas?
college. I just happened to be there. For like the Tri-County area, I may not have gone to your college, but God help me, I showed up at your parties. Okay.
Do you know the
I'm
man
not
David
allowed back to
Koresh?
Niagara University. I didn't go there. I'm not allowed back.
Nice.
Oh, come on.
That's the best.
Ranch
That's-
Davidians. Holly.
Yeah, okay. So I don't listen to a lot of podcasts except for the ones that are here.
Aw, we got a fan.
It's okay. These are the best ones to listen to. I would argue.
That's probably true.
I was listening to a little podcast called Rover Red, but I found this one comedy one that's pretty funny, and you all know who Anna Faris is. It's
love her.
really comical. You'd probably like it.
Is it her? Like she has a
Yeah, she's
really?
got a podcast called Anna Faris is Unqualified.
Oh,
And
I've heard of. I've
Have
heard
you?
Of that. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think I don't think I thought it was a podcast.
Like a real thing?
I think I thought it was like a YouTube.
it kind of sounds like that.
Yeah.
It's not like this where there's always an introduction. But basically, Anna Faris sits down with a celebrity and they talk about.
I was chewing
Munch,
ice.
munch, munch.
I was chewing ice. Leave me alone.
So they talk about like I don't know what the celebrity's up to and what Anna's up to, and then like they do a bit, but then at the end of the show, somebody writes into the show for advice, and they call the person on the phone and they give this person advice.
Oh, and she's unqualified.
And
to
she's
give any
unqualified.
advice.
Well, that's awesome.
It's
I-
really
That's
great.
awesome.
It's
Yeah, that's
really
cool.
great.
We should start offering advice on
We should offer
Synthaholics.
advice.
It's great.
Terrible advice.
Who wants to be called
You know
up at
what? We could
10:30
all hire.
Eastern time?
I want that to be our thing, Holly. That's going to be your new function on here. You're
Holly,
just
how do you feel
completely
the
unqualified
ballast
advice.
on?
Right.
How do you feel the ballast on a submarine?
How do I feel? What?
Fill the ballast on a submarine.
Let's it float.
Quickly.
Oh, and you want me?
Yeah, give us advice. Yeah.
We're all gonna die.
You gotta find the lube because you gotta make sure it goes down good.
You pour the liquor and you just hold on to something.
Did you say it was a submarine?
Don't overfill
I
it.
recently
Close your eyes and just
learned
go
that
for
women
it.
Can't be on submarines.
What?
So I guess I wouldn't be able to help you. Yeah.
Can there be like a all women? Like
I think I don't know. My theory is that it has something to do with like
the bathrooms don't
internal
have.
organs, like would probably screw up their.
Really?
That's my theory. I don't know.
I've never heard that.
Wait, what did you?
Pressure.
I totally missed it.
I missed it too.
So women can't serve on submarines. I thought it's because they're all the guys and the
Yeah.
guys.
But can't get away.
Right?
Yeah.
Hide.
Some crazy Aleister Crowley action.
Well, you can't.
She's hiding in the nuclear reactor.
Sorry.
I love that.
Sorry.
So anyway.
Did you learn that on that podcast?
No.
It was in Dune.
Told me that.
Oh,
She
that's
knows
cool.
all these random facts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm a little bit bigger and better today.
Boy.
Right?
Aaron has been educated.
I have.
As
Over
far
here,
as-
boys and girls.
As far as the podcast that I'm going to recommend, it is literally brand new. My friend Anthony Luciano, who has been on this show before, he's the host and primary narrator for the Irrational Fears podcast. He was cast in a not really a small role, one of the leading roles in the Sleepwell archives. One episode has been out so far as of the time that we're recording this, and I'm not exactly sure what's going on in this podcast, but in the best possible way. I think this is like the only fictional show that we've talked about so far. So I figured, we got to talk about a fictional show. Essentially, it seems like a bunch of people who go into this sleep study program that have horrible chronic sleep ailments like recurring nightmares and stuff. And it's slated as a horror fiction podcast. I don't really know what's going on with it, but the acting is really good, and it's good enough to keep me involved. I listened to it twice back to back just to see if there was anything that I missed. Yeah, exactly. So I don't really know what's going on after the first episode, but it's good enough to keep me coming back. So I don't know definitively if I can recommend this show, like, you need to listen to this show from beginning to end. But at least after one episode, it's good enough to check out just to see.
It captured your attention.
It captured my attention, not necessarily my imagination yet.
Okay. All right.
So I would recommend just at least checking it out. Maybe wait until they have a couple more episodes under their belt and see if you like it.
You're a pretty big connoisseur of podcasts, though.
I do listen to a lot of podcasts. Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of podcasters on the show already too, like Madison Martin and Christopher Bloodworth from Rover Red, which I think is where you found out about the show too, isn't it?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
So I've had them on. I've had Anthony on. I've had a couple of YouTubers on the show as well. So yeah, I'm pretty big into the podcasting community.
It's becoming a problem, isn't it?
It is. It is. I'm starting to get the itch, man.
Never satiated.
Podcasters Anonymous.
Whoa. I thought that's what this was.
This is your intervention.
Going to PA.
Now I'm just waiting for somebody to show up behind me and just wrap a blanket around me and hand me a cup of coffee. All right, so let's go back around the table. Let's go for movies or TV shows. David.
TV shows, I'm going to recommend an anime that was really big in like the early I don't know if it was really big in the early 2000s. I don't know if it was ever really big in America, but it's called like Cell Saga. It's like six volumes, I think, and it's called Quack Experimental Anime, where every single episode they make fun of a different genre. Like in the first episode, they're making fun of manga, and so she's tasked by her master to go and kill Koshirito, the creator of the series, which basically ends up killing her. So like it's total nonsense. There's a character called the Will of the Macrocosm. She revives Excel because she also dies like 2 minutes into the show. She dies constantly, and eventually
is this what Aeon Flux was based on or something?
Yeah.
No,
Nice.
I don't think so. But the show goes on, and then eventually the Will of the Macrocosm is captured and kidnapped. She can't revive people. And so then the stakes actually get high, and like you actually start to feel a little bit for Excel. But I mean, they make fun of like Power Rangers, like science fiction in general. There's a couple like Yoda references and like aliens, and all mashed into like one single episode. Any kind of genre. They even have a episode that make fun of American animation, like any kind of like subject they could find. They had a sports episode about bowling.
It sounds like Japanese South Park.
It's
No, I'm with her.
I just like how you said that. Sounds like Japanese.
Because there's the person dying all the time,
Right?
making fun of everything.
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, Holly's point was there and poignant, but the look on her face was, that sounds like South Park.
Challenge me.
Tell me it doesn't.
Yeah.
Tell me it doesn't.
Or you will die.
Right?
You got nothing. You know you.
Rebuttal? I thought not.
Well, I got to meet one of the actors from the show, Vic Mignogna, who also plays Captain Kirk in Star Trek Continues. I got to meet at Fan Expo. He played a character on only one episode of the entire series, a dog named Wolf. He was the most intense dog character I've ever heard before in any cartoon.
You got me sold. I'm going to check this out. Is it streaming anywhere?
No, it's super old. I was even trying to find it on a format other than DVD, and I cannot. Like, it is old, and I think it's obscure. And they actually created a character for the show called Pedro.
It's like me, old and obscure.
I wasn't trying to point you out. I'm sorry.
But that's it.
Elephant in the room.
I don't know. I didn't want to say it, but
You just had to say it.
But it's a really good show. It makes fun of everything, and like the show ends basically the show ends the episode before the last episode, and the last episode is called Excel Saga the Musical. But instead of musicals, they make fun of hentai.
all right.
He's excited when you said musical, and then I was like,
Then hentai.
never mind.
You brought me up and crashed me down. All right, awesome. I'll check that out.
I got two minds of this because there's two TV shows I want to talk about. One,
Bring it home.
It's dancing on my brain constantly, and I just love it so much. It's
It's a long title.
No, right?
it's really
Sorry.
it's Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I just love Rick and Morty so much.
Did you happen to catch the season
Yes.
3 premiere?
Yes.
All right.
I'm just totally in love with it. It's everything. It's South Park, Family Guy rolled into, Galaxy Quest and all the other weird stuff that's out there. So it's just wonderful.
It's also written by Dan Harmon, creator of Community, which in my opinion is one of the best shows ever made.
No, it's everything. Almost every episode. I mean, a few episodes aren't as good, but almost every episode is so freaking genius. It's unbelievable. It's like I just can't get over it, and the jokes are hilarious. So that's awesome. And the other thing I just want to mention is I've been watching is sci-fi channel show called The Expanse. It's more hard science fiction, but it's just interesting. There's a lot of they really depict the world of science, like if you were out in spacefaring, if humans were spacefaring, what it would be like. And it's a lot of fun. It's fun to see, and I think they did a really good job.
Yeah.
So
It comes
Excellent.
on after The Magicians, and I've never watched it.
you're like,
Holly, you are not made for podcasting.
Why?
Okay? You were made for
I'm so
YouTube.
mad at you. I have no idea what he's talking about. I was like, really? You've never watched it? Why?
These pauses keep happening every time
They
Holly
really
speaks tonight.
do. It's because she's so animated. She's got a voice for podcasting, but not the personality.
It's actually
all in the
thought you were saying, but not the brain.
it's actually. You know what it is? Holly's face. I do love her face because her lines deliver everything.
Yes.
The emotions are there.
Yes.
I know exactly what she's thinking right now, and she's like, "That show is bullshit."
No, I just like.
Too bad we
It's
don't
on
video
after The
catch this.
Magicians, and I don't watch it.
Well,
It's
I,
on when I turn the TV off.
no,
It's the slight head shake.
I would watch it. I'm always really wrapped up in The Magicians because
No,
I
that's cool.
absolutely love The Magicians.
So that translates to I would watch it, but I just don't want
But
to.
I'm tired.
No,
No,
my friend Kaylee watches The Magicians with me, and then we talk about the episode after the show.
Cool.
So you run your own Walking Dead, Talking Dead thing.
I was gonna say that's a podcast.
That's
right
a
there.
podcast right there.
Yeah.
Just stick two microphones and you're done.
Exactly.
We've actually been recording them, but they're like not. There's no structure.
Because
You're on one with no structure.
Right now.
Should
We
do
are
it.
so structured.
Our structure is controlled chaos.
Essentially, this episode actually has a relatively rigid structure, and we're just rabbit holes abound. That's kind of how we run things.
It's rigid because of the rabbit holes.
That's what you need to do.
It's rigid because of the rabbit holes. It's
If-
I'd have to
strategically
agree with
placed.
that.
If you have ever podcast with Dave Duncan, you know rabbit holes are everywhere, and you need to constantly pull them out of those rabbit holes.
But.
Thought that was going somewhere else.
Rabbit holes and musical interludes, and it's always the same.
Oh, but yeah, that's where it's going.
See, now Josiah went where I wasn't gonna go.
You were thinking it, Aaron.
I
Stop
The
it.
final frontier.
Final frontier.
Okay, we've talked enough about Aleister Crowley's ass, okay?
But's the final first.
Josiah, what do you got for us?
So a crazy show no one's ever heard of called Seinfeld.
What is that show about?
No.
Nothing.
It's a show about nothing.
And it's great. I just watched the episode with the keys the other day.
Oh,
That's a great one.
Keys with
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
that is my favorite show of all
Soup
time.
Nazi.
But so it was kind of popular, kind of not. Flight of the Conchords would be something
Oh,
that
yeah.
my wife and I revisit like every year.
Nice. Okay.
She introduced me to it, and there were only 2 seasons of it. It was HBO. I want to say 2008, 2009, right around there. Fill me up, Buttercup. Thank you. And it's basically the premise is 2 broke musicians from New Zealand come to New York City to make it big, and they're not qualified to do so. They're not very good at their craft, but their songs
Songs are awesome.
are really, really awesome. They're funny, they're good musicians, and they're like kind of like Lonely Island in a way, but in folk music, if you will.
Okay.
So I totally recommend that. That is totally accessible, by the way. I don't know if you can stream it. I think you can if you have HBO Go. We have the DVD. They made a box set of just the 2 seasons that you can get pretty cheap. But yeah, it's hilarious. It's Brett McKenzie and Jermaine Clement. Jermaine is in like all of these movies. He does a lot of voice acting these days. Brett McKenzie was actually in Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, which is Google it. You'll see him in Flight of the Conchords, and it's pretty awesome. So that's my recommendation. You will be buying the soundtracks to those.
Yeah, you will not regret that.
Yule, like Y-U-L-E?
Yule.
Yeah,
Yuletide.
nailed it.
Maggie, what do you got?
Oh, gosh, when it comes to TV, I have so much.
Yeah, you said this is the section you were excited for. You're like,
Well,
fuck you,
This is your
podcasters.
wheel.
Give me the boob tube.
This is your
I
wheelhouse.
love TV so
Make
much.
this happen.
So, this is not something that people have never heard of, obviously, but Buffy is my all-time favorite show of all time. I'm rewatching it
Fist bump that. Yes.
I'm rewatching it for the 3rd time right now. I was watching it before I came here. But for the first time in like 2 years, so it was, and I think like you said, with all Joss Whedon stuff, it's like all new to me, all
Yeah.
over again.
I do the
And-
same thing every 6 months with Firefly, and it's always like watching it brand new.
Yeah.
I'm like, this has to keep happening to me. All
Firefly
over
is
my
so
face,
good.
neck, and chest.
Exactly. And I just, because it was the 20th
And anus.
anniversary a few weeks ago, this is a plug to myself. But I wrote an article about it on Geekiverse, but of my personal top 10 favorite moments, and it was hard for me to pick out my top 10. A, because there's just so much content, and every season is so good, and B, just because I got extremely emotional and was only crying once while I watched it. But for something that people may not have seen, and I was thinking of this actually as we were sitting here talking, there was a show that was called Slings and Arrows. It was a Canadian TV show in the mid 2000s. It's actually where Rachel McAdams got her start, and then The Notebook happened and she was like bye after 1 season. It was only on for 3 seasons. I'm a theater person. I was a theater major, so theater people will love it, but I think anyone would love it. It's about a Shakespeare, a summer stock Shakespeare festival, similar. It's based on the Stafford Shakespeare Festival, and it's just 3 seasons, and each season they're putting on a different play, and it's just completely ridiculous. Everyone's hijinks, all of the drama between.
Is it like the stuff
cast.
that happens in between?
Yeah, it's the behind the scenes stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, and there's one season there's a ridiculous director that flies in from London, and his name is Darren Nichols, and he always has a scarf that he flings around himself. And then there's the
He does.
old flamboyantly gay production or artistic director that's going senile and shouldn't be working anymore, but everyone just lets him do whatever he wants. And then there's the diva actress who needs to retire, and there's just all this stuff. And for a theater person, it's great, but for anybody,
Sounds hilarious.
I loved
picturing,
college theater back in the day.
I'm picturing
That was a lot of
Wet
fun.
Hot American Summer : theater camp.
it's
that's
you know
cool.
what? That's a good
that-
point,
yeah.
because it's
Is that kind of a similar feel?
it's a little bit more. I don't want to say higher brow humor, because there's not as much of that the just ridiculously raunchy stuff, but in the way that it's kind of set up, it's very similar, and that it's all these people stuck in one small area
Right on.
for a series of time, and it's I think they took it off Netflix, but I'm almost positive you could get it on Amazon, and it's only 3 seasons, so it won't cost you that much. So I'll get on it. And Canadian TV is so underrated.
Oh,
Incredibly.
Canadian TV
So
is
good.
awesome.
But
Yeah.
it's myself and Brooke that know about Being Erica, as far as I know. I mean, I've never met anybody else that even knows what that show is, and that show is incredible.
And I discovered this show just because I had another friend in my theater department that was into all kinds of weird TV from anywhere but America, and she introduced it to me, and I was like, "What?"
Did you check out that series from the Sudan?
Yeah, Lebanese show is real good.
Man, the show from the Congo, I cannot believe the production values.
Yeah, but yeah, so I would highly recommend that to anybody, and it's a quick. Each season literally only has 6 or 7 episodes, so
So you're in and you're out.
you're in and you're out.
I love it.
Aha.
For once, I wasn't making a sex joke.
Really?
But it still
I
sounds
really
like
thought
it.
you were.
Not that time.
Oh yeah, then why did Dave and I look at each other? Huh?
Because you guys,
twinkle was
that's
in our
what you
eyes.
guys do.
It
No,
also,
but
it
that
also,
actually sounds wonderful.
it also
It
helps
does.
her cross each
I
other.
like that premise that you could the behind the scenes.
Oh, I
of
thought you were
a-
talking about the twinkle in the eye there for a second.
Well, that's also
That
wonderful too.
No,
Hashtag respect your journey.
It's definitely a great watch for sure.
Yeah, that sounds
And there's
cool.
different themes like within that relate to the actual show that the company is putting on.
the play they're doing?
That kind of lead into what's going on in their real lives.
Right,
so
right.
It's a theater person's dream, but for regular people.
No, I love
Regular
that.
people, that's terrible. But you know
Regular,
what
all you other
civilians.
All you
unwashed
non-podcasters.
masses.
Yeah. So yeah,
Right
my
on.
thing.
You have sold me on this show. I will watch it tonight.
If you can find it, I
like that. I like the sound of
here
it.
And I was like, is it still on Netflix? And I don't think it is. It is, but I'm sure it's on
Something.
Amazon or
Right on.
something, or wherever you can find
YouTube?
TV anywhere.
You can find a lot on YouTube
Slings
these
and
days.
arrows.
Slings
Just
and
do a
arrows.
Google search. It's got to come up somewhere.
Yeah.
Holly.
Is this a story about David and Goliath?
No. That's Hamlet, by the way.
Yeah.
My show
Nice.
is not really.
Good.
Excellent.
There's that face again.
Oh, if you could see it.
Okay, so my
It's like
show
air
isn't
French
really
kissing.
a show that's not been heard of. But I know one other person who actually. What did I miss? 'Cause
No,
you're
no,
about to
just keep
explode.
going. You said something. Don't worry.
Don't listen to that part.
Okay, I know one person. I have one friend who actually watches the show, and so it makes me feel like, no, it's actually not you.
Oh, it's usually me.
It's usually you. It's called Orphan Black.
I love that show.
Yes?
Heard
Yes.
of it. I've never watched
Yay!
it.
That show is phenomenal.
So
Yay.
good.
That's great.
It's
And it's
excellent.
British, right?
Well, it's
Or is it-
Canadian.
or Cana-
It's
It's
Canadian.
on BBC
But on
America.
BBC, that's why I
but
thought it was
it's
British.
Canadian.
It's great.
Gotcha.
That's amazing.
She needs to be in everything.
That's
She
pretty
needs
popular.
To be
She
in
needs to be in everything.
Like I haven't seen that show, but that I feel like I know a few people who
Yeah.
have,
She needs
like,
to be in Star
totally
Wars.
into
She
that.
needs to be in Star
They're-
Trek.
Out
they're
of control
ending it.
good.
She needs to be in
Out
The
of control.
Expanse. She
Season
needs to
5
be in
is their
everything.
Final season. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's
ending.
already ending.
I know.
I haven't seen last season yet,
It's
but
it's
I heard I
stupid.
can't.
I was
It just
gonna
doesn't
bring
seem like it's going to be a
Stupid.
and the
That's a
episode.
What's in it?
Tatiana Maslany, who's actually on Anna Faris's Unqualified.
Nice.
What a tie-in!
Full circle.
Back around.
It's secular here.
Right.
Holly has a
She's
plan.
Amazing. Tatiana Maslany is fucking amazing.
She is. I mean, she plays half the characters in Orphan Black, and this is why she should be
She
in everything
plays
because she
12
plays
clones.
everything.
Yes.
And when I got my husband,
Although
to
it's
watch
kind of
it,
spoilers if you hadn't seen the first episode, because you don't find that out till like halfway through season 1.
Yeah, but I think that
second
adds
episode,
intrigue.
You know they're clones. Second
Yeah, you can
episode.
parse it together by the second episode.
But the thing is, people
He
told
he
me
didn't believe me that she wasn't like twins.
that
or
not
triplets.
they wouldn't tell me what
There's
the
no way
premise
that's
of
the
it
same
was.
person. And he
Because they said
he
it was
got
the
on
other way.
IMDb. He's like, "You're wrong," and I'm like, "I'm right. It is the same person." So
The
Orphan
best,
Black.
the best clone. I'm sorry, the best acting as far as the clones. The Russian killer,
Helena.
Helena.
I love Helena.
Her theme music every time she comes on screen is horrifying, and
Yeah.
it just gives me chills up and down my spine. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
she's
is
so good.
compelling, frightening. It's hard to
And
be
you
like,
care
I
about
love
her.
you. I want to feed you tuna.
You do
You're like
care
a
about
kitty
her.
cat person in one scene.
okay.
Then Helena comes on, and I'm like, I'm terrified of you. I'm so scared of you.
What
But
is-
yes, you do
What
care
does she
about
do? She's like.
Spoiler text. Spoiler
Oh yeah,
text.
never mind. Never mind.
I like how she
you
kills a
can't- I
guy
can't
with
even tell
a
you
paper
about
No,
the
you
cutter.
show.
can't say a lot
Like
without.
basically, the only thing I can tell you about the show is that there's a girl who's an orphan, and
Is she black?
No,
Okay.
She's Orphan White.
Already lost.
right? She's
Spoilers, Maggie.
She's some punk. She's some punk chick walking through the city, and she witnesses a suicide. Some girl jumps in front of a train, and right before the girl leaps in front of the train, she looks at Sarah, and Sarah
They're the
realizes
same
that
person.
yeah.
Yes.
Sarah's like, who
Maggie
the
sitting here
fuck
making
is
fun of it.
that?
Well then,
So,
I wasn't. I like legit. That's
Right?
actually terrifying.
Yeah. So Sarah's like, oh my god, what the fuck do I do? So she
Seriously.
steals her bag.
And impersonates her.
Good thing.
Yeah. So
Because that's
by
the thing
way
you do.
Of, by like
That's what I want to know.
her belongings, she unravels this crazy thing that's been going on that she had no idea of, and nobody knew where she was or if she even still existed. So it's really really cool.
I literally just watched a movie about somebody throwing themselves in front of a train.
Oh.
It was a really weird, obscure Kevin Bacon
Seems like a really short movie.
called Rails and Ties. Well, no, that starts at the beginning. He's driving the train that hits the mom that's in the car, and she's suicidal, but her son jumps out of the car at the last minute, and then somehow Kevin Bacon and his dying wife like pseudo adopt the kid.
Wait, that's my
At
story.
what point does he take his like he does in every other kind of
Sue
game?
someone.
He did have an angry moment in a garage when he was throwing things, and I was waiting for him to start dancing, and he didn't.
Start dancing, penis out, and
Yes.
everything.
Because you gotta get loose.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Foot
derail that.
loose.
It's just you.
I'm
Derail.
so confused. I've never seen Kevin Bacon's penis, so I don't understand why you're talking.
Not many
Seen
people.
Hollow Man?
Yeah?
You've seen his penis. Have you seen Wild Things?
No.
Wild Things is really good.
I actually really
Yes,
like
it's a
Kevin
very
Bacon,
good movie.
despite-
I was really surprised how like cerebral it
the
was because I
following.
wasn't
You
expecting
I did
it.
not.
Right, I was
It
expecting
was
a
canceled
lot more
after
lowbrow for
only
that.
2 seasons, but they were not intending on canceling it when the second season ended.
Right.
Like, and then it got canceled like in between, and I was furious.
I think
It
when
was
that
really
came
good.
on, I was watching something else. It was on like AMC or TBS, right?
No, it's on Fox.
Fox. Okay. I don't know what I
Fox
was
Fox
watching.
cancels everything
do.
But
all the time.
You can't cancel Bacon.
But somehow not Gotham. Which is...
Just
I don't know how.
Don't give them any ideas.
I don't know how.
I don't know yet. It's what?
Can we
April
tra-
8th? What day
can
is
we
it?
trade Gotham for Firefly,
24th.
please?
Okay.
Which is weird. Yeah, that doesn't come back for another 2 or 3 weeks. But I
Don't
predict...
give them any ideas.
Okay.
Just let it.
All right, I'll leave my prediction
let
on the
it happen.
wayside.
It's terrible
Just
and
all
amazing.
I'll say is enjoy the next few weeks of Gotham when it comes back.
I just
All right.
love it so much. It's so ridiculous, but I love it.
It's so abusive. It keeps me coming back.
And like, I loved the OC, so I love seeing Ben McKenzie in something. But that's
the major
unrelated.
sell.
Yeah.
Okay, Tina. So Ike will be back in a few weeks, and the cycle will
Ike.
continue.
Yes.
I don't watch Gotham, but Orphan Black will be back June 10th.
Right on. I love how you're just like, yeah, I don't know anybody that watches this show, but Orphan Black, the entire room erupts. Yes!
That's awesome.
My show has been canceled already, but it's still worth watching. If anybody has Hulu, you can find the entire series on there. Selfie.
Oh,
Yes.
love Selfie.
This is one of the funniest, well-written shows ever. This was a
good.
critical... The critics destroyed it after the first 2 or 3 episodes, but it is the only show I've ever heard of where the critics came back around after it has been canceled and said, wait, stop, we were wrong. We were wrong. Don't cancel this, but it was too late. So the rest of the series played out on Hulu. Essentially, this show is Pygmalion in the modern age with cell phones.
Interesting.
What's her name? Karen Gillan from Doctor Who, from Guardians of the Galaxy. She plays Eliza Dooley, main character of that. And it's essentially just about her trying to change her image from being a vapid, Twitter and Instagram obsessed sales rep and trying to become a better person. So it's essentially Pygmalion updated. And
Her
it
best friend in the show is awesome, and I can never remember his name.
Henry Cho.
His actual name?
I'm pretty sure it's Henry Cho.
Okay. But whenever he
Harold
pops up
Kumar?
in different movies, yeah, he's
John Cho.
John Cho.
John Cho.
Yeah, that guy.
Henry is his character's name. John Cho.
John.
Yes.
Well, he is freaking awesome, and he's like a. How would you describe him as a poet? Like, you know, Eliza, she's like really.
She's
into
a mess of a
herself,
person, and he's
she's
very
like-
proper.
And he's like every pen has its place, and you wear a tie every day. And she's like a mess coming in drunk and hungover. And,
She's coming in drunk saying, "Oh God, it's Tuesday. Why am I not drunker?"
right.
Do not besmirch Tuesdays. Tuesdays have done nothing to
I have to
you.
bend over when I eat.
This show has so much heart. It has so much hilarity, and we talked a little bit about whitewashing in our Iron Fist episode. This show was so refreshing to see a love interest that was also the male lead that was also played by an Asian man. It's just very refreshing to see that, especially with the female love interest having red hair. Again, something you don't see all that often unless it's the gimmick of the show. But in this case, it wasn't. It's a well-written, well-made show. I definitely recommend it. Aaron, you've got a weird look in your eye. You're thinking about it, aren't you?
No, because there was the Netflix show that came out. The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt had a red hair.
Yes.
Fell in love with
Yes,
an
it
Asian
did.
guy. So
And I love
And I
that
think
show.
That's
the
a great
second
show,
season
too.
just recently came out, or maybe it was a couple
It was
months ago,
last year.
Second season
came out last year.
Last year?
Yeah, right around this time last year.
that's a great
My wife was
Sure.
out. My wife had just given birth to Max. Yeah.
Oh, Max. So there you go.
He knows.
I use my kid as like a time
Second
gauge.
season had just came out.
Batman vs Superman. Not too bad to give birth to.
Yeah, that was her ringing endorsement.
Better than labor pains.
That was her ringing endorsement, yeah. My wife went into labor during BVS, and she stayed for the entire movie.
No, she did not. What a baller.
Holly, you know the story.
That's what I would do. Like, if I, like, went to labor, like, during, like, I don't know, like, a
Nope.
Star Wars movie,
We're
I'd
waiting.
be like, we're
I was
fine.
gonna say, see, it'd have to be Star Wars, I think.
She's sitting there. Nope. The kryptonite spear's coming out. Nope, this is happening. You stay in there, Max. You're grounded. You're grounded already from the womb.
It better be, like, episode 9.
Max, both of them are Martha.
There's jokes I can't even get into with that. So I'm just leaving that alone.
Really?
A lot of them.
Where's his wife and his child? I can't say shit.
That's a little surprising, but
I just have
okay.
to bring back a joke from our Batman episode.
Which one?
Just it's better than labor
Martha.
pains.
Yeah. It's true.
Batman vs Superman better than labor pains. It should be on the big billboards.
Ringing endorsement.
That is saying a lot.
Yeah.
Was there any other shows or movies anybody else wanted to touch on before we go to the last segment?
If you like cults,
Yeah,
I forgot about this.
He was in Brad
Remedies-
Davidians.
What? They talk about that in this. Leah Remini's Scientology series on A&E
Oh yeah.
blew my face off.
Yeah.
And then there's another season coming out, but just of if you're into learning about all that stuff. And then I went off and watched like 4 other documentaries on Scientology.
Yeah, I
The
saw
one on
Going
HBO.
Clear, and I now
That
I
was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about.
Now
they
I
have-
cannot stand John Travolta. So
yeah, it's gonna make you hate Tom Cruise too. Which,
Yeah.
I feel bad for Tom Cruise now because I don't think
I
he
don't think
understands
he knows.
what's going on.
They get
Travolta
into-
knows.
Yeah, Travolta knows. They get into the inner working. They talk about Tom Cruise a lot, and they get into his friendship with David Miscavige, the guy that runs the I'm not even
unquote,
call it a religion. It's
quote unquote church.
and all of the
Let's
how
just
they're
call him who he
hiding
is:
their-
High Heel Hitler.
Yeah, he's insane. Like they're all and like hiding all of their money and like real estate, these big huge buildings that no one's living in because they are tax exempt. So they have to put all of their money somewhere, and the lives that people have destroyed, and like forcing women to get abortions and all kinds of crazy stuff. And what's cool about it is that Leah Remini, because she was a celebrity, she didn't really know how bad everything was. The reason she left is because David Miscavige's wife had gone missing, and she started asking people where she was, and no one would give her any answers. So she went and filed a police report, and then the church basically kicked her out.
Oh, wow.
So she kind of started connecting with all of these high-ranking officials that had left in the past to kind of try and figure out, and started talking to them, and she started learning about all this crazy stuff that was going on that because she was a celebrity and they wanted to keep her happy, she didn't know about. And so then she goes around and they interview people all over the country that were high-ranking officials, and then they learn their stories. And the first season ends with them basically going to meet with a bunch of lawyers to see if they have enough evidence to actually pull off a lawsuit against the organization, because they've tried in the past and it just keeps failing, and so they think that they might. It ends with us not knowing if they have enough for a case, because they legit can't bring cameras in the room. But
Right.
Yeah.
I was into it.
Just to circle the wagons around, last podcast on the left just did a L. Ron Hubbard 3-parter.
Yeah, it's good.
I
it
will
was
totally
good.
listen to that.
It was good. It was really good.
It's very good.
Extremely
They're the most
interesting.
recent episodes too.
I will definitely listen to
Yeah.
that, because that has blown my mind. I was angry by the end of it. And
Oh, yeah.
because I
It's
always thought
definitely.
they were just
He's a
like,
terrible,
I
terrible
thought
person.
they were just kind of bizarre,
Ooh,
really
Elrond?
fringe.
Yeah.
I actually thought that they
Super
were.
terrible.
I
Yes,
had them
he
mixed
is.
up with Christian Scientists. I just thought they were super, super weird, but
That's how it's
still
framed.
believed in a god, but just weird. And now I've realized that they are completely. And they say
Hail
too
be to
that-
Xanu.
Yeah, nobody now. is
Nano,
becoming a
nano. I mean, Xanu,
Scientologist.
Xanu.
It's essentially that though. They get to the top of their ladder and they get all their special information,
Yeah.
and it's
And then it's all bullshit.
It's
It's, like you get to the
ramblings
top,
about,
and it's like, what the fuck?
aliens.
Live long and give me all your shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's literally and they say no one now becomes a Scientologist. It's all people that were born into it,
Yeah.
or celebrities that have just been a part of it because
messed
they
up.
magically
I think
started
they-
Super
getting
messed up.
auditions.
Yep. I think they have South Park to
and-
thank for that.
And
Yeah,
secondly,
because they kind of
They blew the lid off of what that religion was, and everything that they had in that episode came from the documents.
and it came from and all that
It's
stuff.
true.
They all did that big expose in the St. Petersburg Times, the big newspaper down in Florida. All of these old Scientologists coming out, and it's just been it's insane, and it's all been going on, and no one's known about it. Like people getting locked up in holes and in trailers and licking dirt off
On a giant boat.
Yeah, because you
On a
see
big
Tom
boat.
Cruise jumping on a couch, and you're like, oh, that's funny.
The
Like,
dirt and everything, that's just foreplay, all right? So
yeah.
that's fine, but getting the
also-
disappearing situation, not
it's-
so much.
There's a
Scientology is
crazy
super messed
interview
up
with
stuff.
Tom Cruise
It is.
talking about how much he loves Scientology, and
Right.
you watch it, and just his face and his eyes, and he is like manic, and you watch it, and you're like, you like want to like save him, but at the same time, you're like, you're an adult, and it's also that's totally why Katie Holmes left, because she realized like, I got to get my kid away from this because this is not what I signed up for,
Right.
and it's
It's
just
insanity.
I could
insane.
talk hours about that, but
Me too. Yeah, I'm sorry. I totally just derailed everything.
That's
No,
No, you're fine.
It's-
But
it is
speaking
good.
of really excellent documentaries, if we're transitioning a little bit, The Jinx, which is an HBO documentary, absolutely fantastic about Robert Durst, the weird, demented second oldest of the Durst family who went
real
down the
Like
Texas.
father of Fred or something?
No,
I thought too.
not Durst.
know this man.
The Durst family,
He was a real estate mogul and
New York City.
Yeah.
His father owns before he passed away owned so much tons of the real estate in New York. They're super rich family, and it went to his older brother or younger brother. So because he said I didn't feel like he was up to the job. And he goes down to Texas, dresses up like a woman, pretends to be mute, and then kills his neighbor.
Now that just sounds like a fun weekend,
and
okay?
and like at the end of the documentary, doesn't he
he
accidentally admit that he killed them? Because
Yeah. He's like,
the
of
way
course I
timed
did
out,
it.
They arrested him like the day before the last episode came out, right? Like it was like a really weird
Yeah, it was
timing.
it was
And
super weird.
That Ryan Gosling movie from years ago, All Good Things, is about that case because
Because his
I
wife
saw
went
that
missing,
one. His wife went
and they still haven't found the body.
yeah, they never
They
proved
never
that he did
can
anything.
never pin
That's
anything
what
on
the
him.
movie's about.
But
And then all of a
the
sudden,
documentary, his best friend, he murdered his best friend. She stood up for him all the times where people were after his
they think
wife.
that she knows what happened.
And she was about to go tell the public, and then he comes and kills her. And he writes a letter to the police.
Don't spoil it
about
for everybody.
about the body. But it's
Well,
really
this
good.
is all in the news because it's all true.
Well, but
Yeah.
not everyone. I don't know the story, so
It's
Me
really
neither.
really good.
But
You
at the
should-
same-
the trial.
But
actually
even
is
if
a
you
good
know-
question, though. I mean, I don't know the story either, and I'm interested. But can you have spoilers in real life?
well,
Is that a thing?
You can, but the documentary is. I've watched the documentary all the way through 2 or 3 times. It is fantastic. It is so well done.
Oh, you've
It
got
is
me sold.
It
I'll
is
check
so
it out.
HBO
so
can do
worth
a
watching.
documentary.
Oh, hell yeah, they
Like
can.
going clear.
It's really good. It's worth watching. I mean, spoilers not. I mean, it's still it's just how? Because I watch it by myself, then I watch it with my girlfriend because I'm like, you've got to watch this. This is so messed up. And then I watched it. Then I watched it again.
It's terrible, right?
No, it's really
you gotta
really
drink
good.
this. This milk is so sour.
That sounds like me last week watching 13 Reasons Why. You gotta watch this. It's so fucked up. I can't fall asleep right now. Why would I want to watch that? It's 2 minutes of her killing herself. Again, why do I want to watch that?
Because it's riveting.
It's riveting. It's horrible. Yeah.
Makes me excited in the wrong ways. No.
Shocker.
All right, let's change subject.
We're gonna kill her.
That was the biggest
Bone kill,
pause.
if am I right?
Ah!
David, I'll keep you with the baton. Game or comic?
In fact, take the baton away from him.
Oh yeah, don't put the baton in his hand.
You already had the baton. I'm just terrified to wrestle it out.
And don't turn your back to him.
Hey.
Stop stroking the baton, David Duncan.
Ooh,
David is molesting the baton.
Bring me to.
We talked about cults, right?
The baton is no longer flaccid.
Aw.
What are we on? Games?
Games.
Games or comics?
My
Or
favorite.
apparently favorite sexual thing to do to inanimate objects.
Listen, if that were the
just
case and Dave is talking, we would not have enough
Dickie
tape
from
to
Couldn't
record
Be
all
Models
this.
just walked into the room when I said sex with inanimate objects.
Okay.
Well, shit.
My favorite video game of all time is probably TIE Fighter. It's old, so most of people who are into podcasts nowadays probably haven't played it. But you can find it on goodoldgames.com, GOG.com. It's probably like $15-20 the most. It's an old game, but it is by far probably the best Star Wars game I've ever played my entire life. And it's kind of what made me want to go into game design, which is what I went to school for. Because in the game, you play as an Imperial pilot, and you work your way up into the ranks, and you get private audience with the Emperor, and he brands you. You're one of his special pilots. And you get all these different.
You're a good boy.
You're a good boy. And he shoots you lightning, and like it puts a thing on your arm, and you win medals. And there's actually a mission right to escort the Emperors in a shuttle. It is really awesome to get to play all the different.
When you fail, does he go no? You didn't have unlimited power.
No, this is prequels. I think it originally came out in 1995.
Yeah, this is old in the Star Wars timeline. I was going to say it'd be weird if he said that.
It's very, very old, but I've
not played it at all.
It's such an in-depth game. There's so many controls. You can like move, your energy from your ship to the shields or back to the weapons, or you can distribute power throughout your ship. It's not like just an arcade shooter where you just point and shoot. You have total control over everything on your ship. You can call for reinforcements.
But with Star Wars Battlefront, I mean, isn't this kind of like a wash now?
No, because Battlefront's
all arcade,
all online versus each other. And that has a story.
It's arcade. Yeah, this is a single player old like before. Because I mean, there was X-wing, and then there was TIE Fighter, which was a way better version, and then there's X-wing versus TIE Fighter. X-wing versus TIE Fighter I never played. X-wing is super ridiculously hard, and TIE Fighter they kind of found the balance where it actually worked out really, really well. Amazing game. It's not the it's going to be dated looking, but it's just being the bad guy. I mean, that's what inspired me to want to do video games, because you could tell a story from the bad guy's perspective. Mm-hmm. And you don't get that. You don't get that ever in movies. You're always the good guy, and the good guy always has to win, and everything's got to be a happy ending. And, video games don't have to be that way. And that's one reason I love video games.
Agreed. All right. That's a good one. Aaron, what do you got?
I think we talked about
I love Aaron with comics and games. I swear to God, because he's always got visual aids.
On a podcast.
He's always got show and tell.
I think I talked to you about this.
Hell yes, you did. Oh my God.
House of Penis. This is a wonderful, wonderful book, if anybody wants to pass that around. It's basically takes place with the wife or widow of the inventor of the Winchester rifle, and how she started creating a mansion that never stops being built.
The Winchester Mystery House,
yes.
Which is a real thing.
This does exist. Isn't that a real thing?
That exists, yes.
And
didn't last podcast talk about that once?
I think they touched on it.
Rose Red from Stephen King was based on it.
So, but the art is amazing. The story is just fascinating. It's how she's haunted by the blood of all the people who have died, and the carpenters that are in the house are constantly building the house to keep the blood from getting her. And
oh yeah, that looks scary.
Yes, bitch.
It's scary, but it's trippy. It's trippy. It's awesome.
Yeah, bitch.
I love the artist. I love the story itself.
Scary here.
It is.
We gotta walk down that hallway soon. So
I'm not a horror person.
So it's just a wonderful book. It's so House of Penis, Pentis.
Pants?
Thank you.
House of Pants.
Thank you. House of Pants. You'll get a different book for that.
No pants.
Yeah,
but from Vivid Entertainment.
Yeah, but you can obviously just Amazon it. It's awesome.
It's absolutely incredible. Good poll. Very good poll. Actually, the day after I recorded that episode with you, I went out and bought it.
Yeah, worth it.
Oh my God, it's so good. I've completely forgot that it came out in TPB.
Yeah, it's worth it. Totally awesome.
Very much so. That one I can recommend as well.
Yeah, it's so cool.
All right, so I've got two games real quick I'll touch on. One is a game...
TIE Fighter.
Damn it. Who said that?
Shovel Knight.
2010's Heavy Rain. It was a PS3 exclusive.
That was a good game.
Yeah, I think hardcore gamers probably played it if you were a PlayStation owner. Now, they remastered it for PS4. I'll go into a little bit of detail without giving away spoilers. So,
well, how? Because, I mean, the game can end like 6 different ways.
Au contraire. There are 77 different endings to the game.
77? How do you spoil something with 77 different endings?
Oh, trust me, I can spoil it.
Platinum something with 77 different endings.
Oh, it'd be hard. I got to like 80% of the trophies on that. I was pretty proud. But basically, they created someone called the Origami Killer. What happens, you play as 4 main characters throughout. Everything you do is decision-based, whether it's dialogue or action.
Have you seen my trunk? I've got tons of origami in it.
He does.
He does.
He really does.
Oh my gosh. I am
It's a video
uncomfortable.
game. They built it after me.
All the sex jokes, whatever, Dave. But when it's origami, damn it. So anyway,
Origami crosses the line.
It's not a joke.
That's it. You're out of here.
get his ass out of here.
Get you and your Star Trek ass out of here. You can go
your
ahead and
Klingon
jerk
ass
off
outta
the
here.
baton. You can fillet the microphone. One origami crane. Get out.
Live long and prosper, asshole. So,
My trunk has lots of origami trains. So
Oh my god.
I'm legitimately scared here. So, anyway, the Origami Killer basically he will kidnap a young child, always a son, and he will basically trap them in a place where the rain.
Fold him.
You shut up right now. Turn his mic down right now.
Turn the
I
mic
see
off.
that Aaron grin. And once, basically, it's during a rain season that'll happen. So often in the spring, where this fictional town is located.
It's in Seattle.
Is it?
I'm assuming it rains all the time.
it's always a rainy season in Seattle. So
that's
guy,
true, I guess.
He can work around the year.
Absolutely.
So once basically the rain reaches a certain amount of inches, I don't want to say that because I'm waiting for all the jokes to happen. The child dies. So you only have a certain amount of time to find out all the clues to where this child is located.
The whole time you're playing?
Essentially, yes.
Yes.
Get really, like,
it gets. You get drenched.
It gets really.
So-
it gets
It'd be
really
interesting
hard.
if
I got
Play
pneumonia
game
playing
or
this
something.
game.
I was off for a year because of it. So, it is
88%. It took a year to get 88% of the trophies. That is.
no. The writing on this game is incredible, and like I said, all of your choices between the 4 characters absolutely matter. It is 77 different variations of that ending, and that is nuts.
Well, the thing is, some people panned it because calling it a game might be a stretch. It's more like an interactive movie.
They call it interactive storytelling.
Yeah, 'cause
David Cage, who produced the game.
Because I mean, it's less a game and more just lots of quick time events, which.
Yes and no.
Yeah,
Yes
but
and no.
It's a fantastic game.
As far as QuickTime events go, they're more intense than normal.
Yes, they are.
If you make a
By
mistake,
Where they make you
alone,
cringe.
They are QuickTime events, but yeah, I get what you mean. I'm
Yeah, oh,
agreeing. I think this is a very important game. It was a game that
It's dark.
Really yes, not only is it dark, but the story's fantastic, and it's a game that kind of bridged the gap for a lot of the stuff we have now.
Well, it's like the one of quick time events, which you press like 6 buttons in time, and then like you mess up and you
Yeah,
lose.
you're not just
And it's
hitting
like-
one button.
It's like, oh, screw it! At one point, I was gonna die, so I had to leave. I had to leave
your
the area.
character,
Yeah.
between the 4 characters that you have, at any point you can die using. So you're simultaneously you're switching between these 4 characters and their paths that eventually all intertwine.
Yeah.
And if you make a mistake and your character dies, like that's it. Like you're not going back to a checkpoint. That's it. So your game can end kind of early in some respect.
Well, that's why I was getting ready to die, and I was like, I couldn't finish the thing, so I had to make my character
Yes.
walk away, and it was just like it's like you're this close to getting an answer, and it's like I had to walk away.
I got the
It was
first
like,
time.
no!
First time I played it, I got like the worst possible ending. Like it was. I can't go into detail here, but if you guys played it, you'll understand. And then I went back a few times to get other endings, and I got the best possible ending, where everyone kind of lives happily ever after, if you will. But it is an important.
I don't know
game.
which ending I got. I didn't know there's that many endings.
Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. There are 77 endings to the
I
game.
didn't realize there were 77, but
I knew there was- I knew
Brooke and
there
I
was
played
several.
it. We did look it up. We got the second worst ending.
See, Lauren played it with me as well, my wife. So it was the whole time like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? You can get through it in a relatively quick time too. I think it's only like 7 or 8 hours.
Sounds like something you've been obsessed with for a long time.
Listen, he's the one that has origami in his trunk, so you cool it, mister.
I worked at Time Warner Cable,
That's
and
pretty
I
good.
worked the late shift, and I was bored. And then people challenged me, "Can you make them smaller?" And I was like, "Challenge accepted."
And then
What did he just say?
you start kidnapping young boys
Oh, damn it.
and folding them.
Anyway, so the other game I wanted to talk about really quick is
And they're in his trunk.
right now.
Oh man, you guys are crazy. The Wolf Among
Don't
Us
arrest me.
was a game from Telltale Games. They're more known for Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, kind of in the same vein as Heavy Rain, where
Yes.
it's decision-based, quick-time events. Anyway, it's based off of the comic Fables, which is all fairy tales living in the real world.
Yep.
So Big Bad Wolf is the main character. You can run into Snow White. Basically, they're all in the dumps in New York City, and they've got to go... I think they did one season so far, so there's 5 episodes that you can play on any format. Xbox, PlayStation, PC.
Phone.
You can download it on your iPhone, Android. It's something I totally recommend if you're into storytelling or even if you're just into fairy tales. They do a nice... It's like a dark version of a modern-day fairy tale. So I recommend that highly.
Did not play that one. But I've heard good things.
Yeah, for sure. So,
Right on.
yeah.
The only game I've ever played is SpongeBob Quest for Bikini Bottom.
Did he find the bikini at the
I
bottom?
played that, but differently.
If you're looking at
The fuck?
It's when he was on spring break.
Sorry.
I am not a gamer. It just never happened. So I'm the worst. Why did you bring me on this?
We love you, Maggie. That's why you brought you on, to experience all of this.
No, it's just not something that I ever really did. I watch people play video games. I'm someone that can sit down and watch someone play a game for a really long time because I find them interesting to watch. But playing them, I would just get frustrated because I can't learn that quickly. So I get mad and throw it down and don't play.
She's a rage quitter.
I'm a rage quitter.
You are
and it
a
happens
rage quitter.
very
She should not play Dark
No
Souls.
Dark Souls for you. No Dark Souls
that
for
was
you.
hard.
Man, I did that with Donkey Kong Country. I threw my controller. Good thing Super Nintendo controllers were really good.
Demon Souls, the original of the Souls game. Only game I've ever A, rage quit, and B, broken a controller.
See, that's what happened to me, but within 5 minutes.
In SpongeBob.
No, SpongeBob, no. I got all the way to the end with that. I don't remember how it ends, though.
So did I, but
Oh, God, okay. All right.
Did you find the bikini at the bottom?
No. You I think you run through, you have to,
Was that a PlayStation 1 game?
yeah.
Okay, I think my sister has
You have
that.
to get, clean, underpants a lot, and you have to, run through floating underpants, and it's yay, clean pants! It's just...
All right, it
SpongeBob.
sounds like you're describing my id, okay? This doesn't even sound like a
Listen,
game.
I was an only child for a while, and I was a girl, so we, not that girls don't play games, but my parents never thought to buy me, a game, and then I have a younger brother, but he was never really a gamer either. We got a PS1. No, I think we got to a PS2, and he just never really used it, so we were not a gaming family.
That'll change.
Not something that happened. I know, and now my fiance is I literally just text him, what are you doing? He's play video games. I was oh, that's different.
Right on.
Good man.
Yeah,
I
every
like
time-
this, gentleman. I approve.
I'll bring him around. Anytime he meets anybody, he's
yes.
what's your gamer tag?
I like your impression.
No, he has a PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
PSN. I'm more
Oh,
to
there we go. Yeah.
I'm more to
We're
some
already,
PSN. He can add
obsessed
me.
with each other.
It's
The
true.
beard
It's the
thing.
brother of the beard hood.
Yeah. He's a well-bearded man.
Yes, he is.
Bearded, yes.
Yes. Oh, yes.
All right, so
Josiah.
SpongeBob running around with underpants.
I really think this is from 2003.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's been lots
Holly,
of SpongeBob
what do you got?
games.
So I want to talk about a book, but really quick, I did want to mention that I was obsessed with the Meet the Robinsons game on PlayStation.
Yes.
I was obsessed with that game.
Was it?
I love the movie, but I absolutely was obsessed with
I
it.
was
Give
about
me
to say,
PS2?
did you just
Yeah,
use
it
the
was two.
plurality there?
Yeah,
Were there
it's
more
one
than
movie?
Okay.
But I guess it's based on a book.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know
Called,
that either.
it's based on a book. I think it's in Wilbert's point of view or something. I don't know.
I like
if
that
you
movie,
watch
though.
the end of the movie, it says based on So anyway, the book.
Yeah.
I don't really read comic books. I'd like to, but I just like to read books in general.
I let you borrow plenty.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I guess
Like Birthright.
I guess I have read a couple. I have The Sandman: Endless Nights, which was an accident. I was in a book club and I forgot to.
You
That's a good one.
accidentally
Yeah, because
read a comic?
Well,
Oh no, it fell open.
I tripped into
I
it.
saw
okay?
the words.
Absorbing the content.
I
Stop.
don't understand. Morpheus is happening to me.
That's how
No.
Bikini Bottom's happening.
Oh no!
What happened?
It fell into.
I just fell into it.
Right.
What's a sponge doing?
No, I was in a book
Oh.
club, and like every
Power
month
book.
you had to decline the books, or else they would charge you for them and mail them to you. And I forgot to decline them, and
I have
I got
3 different websites like that, but for shoes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I
But
got
for
charged
shoes.
a lot of money.
Yeah. At least you got new shoes.
I did.
Yeah. But the book that I wanted to talk about, I feel like is not a very popular book because of the books that came before it. And the books that came before it had terrible movies. And those books are Twilight. And exactly, listen to the grumbles.
The groan
Dakota
comes.
Fanning saved the last one for the 2 minutes she was in it.
Right?
No, the first half of the movie saved the last one, and then they decided to saint
All
elsewhere.
right. Let's save the hate.
Elsewhere.
That's a different show.
So, okay, so this is why
That's what Mr. Feeney was on before he was on Boy Meets World.
all
Saint
this,
Elsewhere.
all this hate. This is why I wanted to
like
talk
a
about
mean
this
guy.
book.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he was like the nasty guy.
You wanted us to hate on it?
Sorry about that, Holly. Hit us up.
So,
Safe space.
I didn't read this book because I didn't like the Twilight movies. I had the books, and I hadn't read them yet. So I read the Twilight books, and I was like, okay, the books aren't that bad. The movies sucked, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna read the book. The book is called The Host. Have you guys heard of it?
Oh, it's the same.
No, but I
There's
saw
a
the
movie.
movie.
There was a movie.
Yeah.
That's where that.
Does an alien bust out of their chest?
Yeah.
That's where I first discovered them as a band.
Yep.
I think that's Spaceballs.
Oh, okay.
Anonymous.
They were talking face huggers.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't there more than one book? And then they made one movie, and then
No, there's only one book.
Oh, I thought it
it's
was a
large.
series.
It's very large. But you've seen the movie.
I have.
I watched the movie like a million times. I would watch it on repeat. I loved the movie, and then I read the book, and I was like, wow, this book is really great. But the reason I love the book is because it's about an alien species that come to Earth, and they take over all of the human bodies. Well, not all of them, but they take over whatever the like species is on the planet, and they save the planet. They treat each other with respect, and they bring the planet.
When can I
back.
sign up?
Because we're all scumbags.
That's an interesting concept.
Right. So there's a rebellion, obviously, and it's about this host who's put into a very rebellious human who maintains her consciousness, and so it's written between the two of them, and it's really cool. It's really neat.
So they're having an internal
I
dialogue.
gotta
Yeah.
keep fucking up
Yeah.
the earth. I can't let it be. I can't let it be too good.
Saoirse Ronan, is she the
yes,
one in that?
Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crazy Irish name.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah,
I've never seen that movie.
the
but I
woman from
like her.
Brooklyn.
Which is a great movie.
I haven't seen it yet. But
Oh
I
my!
I
That was
want to.
that was the best movie of last year. I thought.
Yeah?
That I saw.
And
I'm
this
gonna
is why
watch it
you were
eventually.
invited into this.
Everybody watch Brooklyn.
Right?
It's just it's not like it's a happy movie. Like
Yeah.
I felt very good watching that movie. But
Nice.
she's in The Host, which
Yeah,
I
she did
forgot.
great.
But as you were talking, I was picturing the trailer, and I was like, I think that was her.
Yeah. But the book is really cool because of the way it's written and like the dialogue between not only the host and the alien, but the alien and the humans, and the host trying to come out and speak to the humans. And it really touches base on what it means to be human. It's really cool.
Hashtag deep. I want to read this now.
I actually have 2
Right on.
copies. I lend one to friends. One is lent out.
Then you know you're
But
into
I
that
brought
book.
my other one with me
And you know you're
in
into
case
that book
somebody
then.
wanted to borrow it. That's how
Right
passionate
on.
I am about this book. So
I like it.
All right. So we're going to end this one with me. I brought a game and a comic. The game I'm going to talk very briefly about because I've been talking about this game forever. And that game is Dark Souls. The original, the OG. Everybody is talking right now, and everybody's got a lot of lore videos out about Dark Souls 3, which is absolutely incredible. There's so much going on, especially with the brand new DLC that's dropping. There's so much going on with it. But you don't get to Dark Souls 3.
Sorry, that's classic.
You don't get to Dark Souls 3. You don't get to Dark Souls 2. You don't get to Bloodborne without going through the original. And I love this game so much. There's such a rich backstory. There is such a deep lore. But the reason that I love it is because of how it's given to you.
Okay.
Games usually they spoon feed you the story. They tell you this is what happens, this is how it progresses. You go through the actions, and then you're rewarded with the conclusion of the story. Mm-hmm. Dark Souls does not do that. Okay. Everything in the story is given to you by item descriptions, by the environment, and by your own hypothesis. They kind of dump a puzzle that really cannot be completely assembled the same way twice on the table and set, and they essentially say, make your own story. And I've never seen a game do that before. And I've really never seen a game do that since, aside from the others in the series. So even though it is a popular game, if you have not played it, you need to go out and play it. It's on PS3 right now, PS3 original.
At first, you need to find a big DLC called Patience.
That was great. Oh,
And accurate.
Oh my gosh, that was great.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was going to come up with the title of like the actual DLC. You just threw me off there.
By the way, this is also one of the most difficult games ever made.
It's a prerequisite for the game. It's a DLC. It's something you have to have learned throughout your life. And if you've not earned this,
it's free. The developer gave it away free.
It was so aggravating as he gave it away.
Your parents may or may not have taught you this. If they didn't, you might be SOL.
You may or may not need to get 6 of these. Get this DLC 6 at a time from a local store.
Yeah.
If you're 21 or older.
Yeah.
You may or may not be able to smoke it, depending on the state where it's legal. We're not advocating for illegality.
So this game, I've always stayed away from this game because I'll be honest, it intimidates me.
Don't let it intimidate you. Just let it happen to you. Because the game itself is intimidating.
So many men have done that to me, and it's really not cool, Robbie.
I was really asking for advice from our Synthaholics friends on, should I just let it happen?
Why did you think it would be that easy?
No,
the game is supposed to be intimidating.
Yes.
That's the whole concept of this game. Your character is normal sized, and you're going up against titans as big as a building. They hit you like a titan as big as a building would. Like, if they hit you, you will die.
Oh, yeah.
And then you need to go back into the fight, losing all of the souls that you've acquired. But the point is, when you do finally topple these creatures, you have that feeling
feels
of
like an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, this game... And all of the characters, once you start to learn the backstory or piece together your own backstory, some of these creatures that you have to kill, like the Great Grey Wolf Sif, you actually feel bad about doing it. Once I found out the story behind Sif, I felt horrible that I had to beat him in order to progress in the game. I didn't want to. It's that emotional. The way they bring the story to you.
And game theory, I haven't played much Dark. I haven't played any of it, actually. I played Demon Souls a little bit of a long time ago.
Yeah, but that's what spawned on this series.
Yeah, but I don't know much about it. But there's Game Theory did 2 videos recently for it, and I sent them to Robbie. And the first one, I mean, you said the first one was elementary, but I didn't know anything about it, so it was good for me because it built the basis.
Definitely elementary.
And the second one,
very much overly simplified, but at the same time, condensed and good enough for a beginner. If you have no knowledge about it,
it's really cool.
It's an excellent barrier to entry.
And then the second one was said was amazing because it
was a theory I'd never heard before.
It was really
and that
cool.
had to do with Dark Souls 3. I'd never heard that theory, and it was phenomenal.
And that kind of spurred on the genre of almost like challenging games, if you will.
Yes.
Medieval times. That one. So you had 3 Dark Souls games, and then you got Bloodborne, which was a PlayStation exclusive.
Yes, you've also got Salt and Sanctuary, which is essentially Dark Souls in side-scroller format.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that those
Contra?
are popular games.
Lords of the Fallen.
Yes, exactly. Very popular games, and I like the kind of reward factor there. Did you guys play the rebooted Doom game from last year at all?
I played the demo.
I feel like that is the bridge to playing a game like Dark Souls, because it's a shooter, so that's a different game altogether, but at the same time it is one of the most challenging shooters out there. And I'll tell you, the story was told completely through data pads and this and that, no cinematics basically, and you're going through and you're finding out what happened to this station. And I think that is a nice gateway into Dark Souls
As far as difficulty rating?
Yes. It's a sliding
Take what
scale.
you need to get to that point, because these games are unforgiving.
I mean, that's the
These
thing.
games are brutal as far as the difficulty.
It's almost like back in the day NES games. Some of those games
Yeah.
are super brutal, like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like this freaking water level. I hate it.
Legends of Zelda 3, or not 3, 2.
2.
Yeah, the side scroller. Mind-numbingly difficult. Aaron's just over there shrugging.
I don't know what
What's
video.
Zelda?
I
What's
don't know what
Legend?
video game is.
I remember Pac-Man.
Oh dear.
Shitting all over my SpongeBob.
I wasn't.
Don't shit on her
He
SpongeBob.
was talking about
I wasn't
actual
shitting
bikini
on
bottom.
it. I was commiserating.
Those underwear was clean.
Aaron's over there. I'm not laughing at you. I was laughing with you.
I just saw a joke and I went for it. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I'm very defensive. of SpongeBob.
So, Dark Souls is my recommendation as far as a game. Not exactly,
Not for
underground,
everybody.
and it's not for everybody.
Not
but,
for the introductory gamer. That's
right,
for sure.
But it is one
Not
of
for
the most,
Aaron O'Brien.
Sounds great.
Let's
Maggie's
give it
like,
to
this
Aaron
is so
O'Brien.
easy.
There should be a video series.
Like,
Aaron O'Brien plays
some
Dark
reason.
Souls.
Oh my God! See me go insane.
I will say that I've never played a game like this before it, and I've never played a game like the original since. This game is one of the best made games ever, like period, point blank. And the comic I want to talk about, again, not exactly underground or anything, but Nailbiter. Absolutely fantastic comic. We talked about this.
Yeah.
I don't remember if we talked about it on the air or
I think
if we talked about it.
Yeah, I don't remember
the
if it
side.
was. Yeah.
But the concept of this story, which is up to 5 volumes now, there will be a 6th one dropping in the summer. There is a town called Buckaroo. 16 or 17 of the world's most notorious and vicious, savage serial killers came from. And this detective is now going to this town to figure out why are all these serial killers coming from there.
I'm sensing a theme in your life.
You should.
Murder, killers.
Murder, origami.
Yeah, what got me?
Dick jokes and blood.
And that's it. That sums it up.
And that's pretty much it. It's a circle.
I'm never playing Heavy Rain again.
I'll show you my
You
trunk.
ruined it.
I will show you my trunk.
No.
It has origami in it.
So
I promise.
Nailbiter, absolutely excellent. Absolutely excellent. I highly recommend you pick this up. Very compelling story, compelling narrative. If you're into serial killers at all, read it.
Cool.
It
If
was
you're
the
into
series
serial
that,
killers at
If
all.
it's something that you're into.
yeah.
Or if it's
Like
a
Aleister
career you're
Crowley.
thinking about breaking into.
Exactly.
You know,
if you
read it.
enjoy
Some
last
tips and
podcast
tricks,
on the
right?
left,
Yeah.
this was the comic that got my wife into comics. So, Nailbiter from Image Comics. Check it out.
Cool.
Nice. Nice.
Cool, cool.
All right, I think that's going to pretty much take us out of it. Synthaholics, Aaron and David, where can we find you guys?
Synthaholic Duo on Twitter. I am David_J_Duncan, and we have a great Facebook group, facebook.com/group/Synthaholics.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Blackbird2004.
And if you guys like what you're hearing from the Synthaholics over here,
Yeah,
you
we
guys have a Patreon as well.
Yes, patreon.com/Synthaholics. We provide, the episode art if you like that, and commentary episodes of Star Trek, random Star Trek episodes. We'll just sit there, watch them, talk with them, and then you play them over like a regular commentary, but it's just us talking.
It's like
in your ears.
when you watch.
Yes.
It's like when you watch Wizard of Oz and play Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, exactly. Except it's our voice instead of Dark Side of the Moon.
That's happening.
I've got a different scenario.
Oh,
Watch Apocalypse Now and listen to Weird Al's greatest hits.
Yes.
I
Wow.
think I've heard about that.
I've never heard that one.
I have.
So with
think I have.
the Patreon for these fellas, keep one thing in mind. Dave will send you origami figures.
Yes.
Good idea.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
We're doing that.
He does SpongeBob.
And you may or may not be missing a child once you
Yes.
receive the figure.
You know, considering
And Hawaiian Punch container.
brief spoilers about Heavy Rain here before we go on to your send-off stuff. Now that we've talked about Heavy Rain and he's doing origami and you're talking about kids and stuff like that, now I'm thinking about it, okay? Now I'm just picturing David in the sewers with a big... We all float down here! We all float!
Wait a second. I gotta walk out with these guys tonight. I don't like it at all.
All right, Geekiverse. Geekiverse, where can we find you?
We've got a ton going on.
No origami.
No origami, I promise.
0% origami.
Only a little bit of creep level, but
I have a Twitch. I'm sorry. Sorry.
we have a Twitch channel.
You're welcome.
You're twitching?
What a great segue. TheGeekiverse.com. I am at Josiah LeRoy. We have some pretty extensive coverage, a lot of events coming up, including E3, in which I may or may not be in Los Angeles for.
What?
So
Really?
that would be the first time that I may or may have not let that slip.
Wow.
What?
So we got an
buddy.
exclusive here.
I'm always waiting for Maggie to come in with that.
Now, do you have a +1? And pending the answer to that, do I have to wear a miniskirt?
Can I give you a double yes?
I'm in.
Yeah!
I'm in.
Right.
Boom,
Fishnets
bitch.
and all.
Wow, that's more than I could ever dream for.
Keep me on your phone. I want to FaceTime on your phone while you're there so I can see what's happening.
Yeah, like I said, lots of
David's
stuff.
going to be over there making origami.
I will make
as-
origami on the FaceTime and show people I made origami.
So aside from that, also I will say, well, on Twitter, I'm at Josiah LeRoy. I can't remember if I mentioned that, but this
You
is
did.
our last time in this studio.
Yeah.
We're moving studios, so
We
Nerds will have a
salute-
new spot
We
next
salute
month.
the studio.
Thank you very much, Creepy Studio. You've served us well through the cold months and through the Rogue One
And with
chat
no
that we had in
bathroom.
December.
Yeah, for the
pee in
record, we're
cups.
currently
I only
recording
have to
on the
go
grounds of a
along.
church
Fine,
here,
right.
so I'm relatively sure that my vernacular in particular has kind of desecrated
I'm
the
sure
land.
that the consecration of this has worn off years ago.
Oh, I
God.
have no
I
doubt.
think it
So-
expired.
We need the
I have no
Winchesters to bring holy water and sprinkle it on the
Farewell
walls.
to Studio 129. You have
Fuck
served
that,
your
dude.
purpose.
We need Father Marin from The Exorcist in this motherfucker, okay?
Probably true.
Oh boy.
All right.
Oh, I'm at MaggieWorth11 on Twitter. And if you watch my first Geekiverse video, I say my Twitter handle wrong 6 times.
I was just about to go there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a record.
I'm like, really? Like, why? But I'm going to have to change it anyways because I'm getting married. So it probably should have just kept it with what I had, which is my middle name. So, but yeah, that's my name.
And when
now.
I'm on Geekiverse
For now.
videos, I
For
challenge people to have
now.
more underscores than me.
The more underscores, the better.
I
Yes!
got a lot of underscores.
Holly.
So I'm Holly Michelle, and if you want to check out any of my voiceover stuff, I am at hollymichelle.iconvoice.com or on Facebook at Holly Michelle V. And personally, I'm at Lunar Thistle on Twitter.
And you can find anybody from the Nerdynomicon on Twitter and Instagram at Nerdynomicon. You can email us, nerdynomicon@gmail.com.
And Hawaiian Punch.
Sorry, we're just.
And Hawaiian. And if you guys like what you're hearing, and I can't understand how you
you
couldn't,
Really? You
patreon.com/Artful Gremlins. You can get early access to all of our shows when applicable. You've got a whole bunch of awesome stuff that the guys are going to be sending you. That's for early access for both Nerdynomicon and Couldn't Be Models. So you guys have double the reason to sign up for that. And you get all of this for even just donating $1. Like Aaron would say, what's $1?
What's a buck? What's a buck?
So until the next round of Nerds of the Roundtable, which should be on the Geekiverse channel, right?
That's right. That's
right.
right. I got to come up with a topic.
So
How
until
can we fit butts into it? Ha
until then, I've been Robbie.
David.
Aaron.
Josiah.
Maggie.
Holly Michelle.
Let's close the book on this week.